Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 64 of building the flight booking engine. Today, I want to share with you about Prometheus. Prometheus is a tool that is going to help us collect particular metrics for our application. For example, the total number of requests, okay, including things like the labels, for example, the method of the request which was used, was it get, put, the path, the actual URL or endpoint, the status. It will help us to know how long requests took or take. It will help us to know the currently active requests or the requests in progress. Okay, and even from Prometheus, we can know Python metrics, okay, like garbage collection statistics, memory usage, CPU time, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it's quite simple and easy to understand. Okay, so let me go step by step. But to save time, I already installed a tool which is going to help us to interact with Prometheus. Let me expand this so that you see it better. So on line 20 in my PyProject.toml, I have a dependency, a package called Prometheus fastapi-instrumentator. Installing it is easy, okay? You just do the usual, like I always, okay? And you already see me doing, say, UV add that, okay? Then you hit enter, as simple as that. What does this Prometheus fastapi-instrumentator give us, okay? First of all, what it is. What is it, okay? It helps us to install two packages, okay? The first package is called the Prometheus client. That client is the core Prometheus Python library, okay? And it is a kind of a low-level library which knows how to format metrics in Prometheus's special text format, okay? That is the first one, okay? Then the one which is built on top of it is the Prometheus fastapi-instrumentator, which is a convenience wrapper which automatically tracks FastAPI's or FastAPI's metrics, okay? Or it tracks FastAPI specific metrics like requests, response times, and status codes. So by saying UV add Prometheus fastapi-instrumentator, under the hood we shall have the Prometheus client installed, okay, which is the core Prometheus Python library. Then Prometheus fastapi-instrumentator is the wrapper, okay, around it, which tracks fastapi specific metrics. So now what we need to do is to go to the main.py and import it. So make sure you install it, okay? Make sure you do it. So I'll close this. I need to go to the main.py, okay? So in main.py, all I need to do is to minimize this, okay? And install it, okay? It's also an easy concept, okay? That I want to introduce you today. I want to introduce you to today, and you'll see, okay? It's not something complex. Now, let us go on and say from Prometheus, wow, why did I choose this word? Prometheus _ fast API instrumentator, okay? I don't want to import the default instrumentator, but what I want to import is instrumentator, like that. Wow. That was a long one, okay? A long one which tested my patience while typing, okay? So this statement, okay, imports the instrumentator class. And this class is a helper which will automatically add metrics tracking to our fastapi app, okay? Then now I can now go at the bottom, okay? Close this here, okay? Right here, I can now create an instance, okay, of the instrumentator class by saying instrumentator, like that. And there we are. Okay. So this is how you create an instance. Like I'm sure all of you know. Okay. Then after that, we call a method, okay, called instrument like this. So instrument is the one which does the magic. It wraps our fast API application with middleware. How do we wrap it? We pass this app, okay, as an argument here. Say, take app as an argument. And by doing that, it will wrap our fast API application with middleware. This middleware intercepts every HTTP request that comes to our API, okay? And for each request, it will record how long the request took, which is latency, what method was used, was it get, post, patch, put, what endpoint was hit, okay? What status code was returned, was it a 200, a 404, 500, 401, okay, 403, whatever. Okay, so it stores these numbers in memory using special Prometheus data structures. Okay, then finally, I can now come here at the end and say dot expose. Okay, what expose and pass up. Okay, so now this creates a new endpoint. Okay, expose, when you say expose and pass up, it creates a new endpoint. That endpoint will be called / metrics. Okay, you're going to see it's going to be added automatically. Okay, so when we visit our domain at metrics, okay, we shall get a text response with all the collected metrics. Okay, so I'll undo the comment. Simple as that. So yeah, I'll have some space there. And of course, you may be thinking, why are we chaining them together? But it's basic Python, okay? A design pattern called, is it method chaining, okay? Instead of having to do something like this, instead of saying instrumenter is equals to instrumenter, okay? Then you say instrumenter dot instrument app, then instrumenter dot expose, okay? So doing it in one line is cleaner, okay? Because we know that every method returns self. Okay, I hope that is understood. Now I'm going to move on to something even more interesting about Prometheus. So what is this interesting thing I'm talking about? Just a moment. Checking that everything is okay. Okay. The next thing we need to do is to create a file which is going to hold the configuration for Prometheus. Okay. I'll close this. Then in the root, okay, in the root, I'll simply create another Python module. It will be called prometheus.yml. Okay, it's a YAML file. Okay, so prometheus.yml. What will this Prometheus file do? Okay, first of all, it's going to have, like I've told you, configuration. Okay, for Prometheus. Okay, the first configuration I'm going to say type is called global. Okay, say global. What does global mean? You might have guessed. Okay, global simply contains sections, okay, or settings that apply the entire Prometheus server. Okay, global simply means we have configuration or settings or sections of our configuration, but they belong or apply to the entire server. Okay, think of it as the same way a global variable would impact. Okay, it would impact your application. That is the same idea. Okay, after that, I would have in the next line, okay, I'll have one called, like you see AI suggesting. Okay, I'll autocomplete and explain them. Okay, so scrape interval. Okay, before we understand what scrape interval means, we need to understand what the first word scrape means. Okay, scrape means fetch metrics from a target. So to scrape means fetch metrics from a target. That is what fetching refers to. okay? Scrape metrics or fetch metrics from a target, okay? So that means that scrape interval here is meaning for every 15 seconds. So this is time, okay? This means 15 seconds. The S is for seconds. So every 15 seconds, visit the metrics endpoint and collect the latest numbers. Remember, I told you that this line of code, okay, will add a metrics endpoint. So says every 15 minutes, visit the metrics endpoint and collect the latest numbers, okay? When I was learning about Prometheus, I was told an interesting analogy that you can think of it as a nurse checking on your pulse every 15 seconds. Okay. The next one is called the evaluation interval. Okay. So this is for alerting rules. Okay. We haven't set it up yet, but it's good for you to know about it. Okay. So if we had rules like alert me when the CPU usage is above 80%, okay, Prometheus would check those rules every 15 seconds, okay? It may not be relevant for now, but required in the configuration and is a very good thing to know, okay? Now, after that, I'll come out of this block, okay? And I'll create another block, okay, called scrape configs, okay? Like you see AI suggesting. So I'll press tab to autocomplete and explain to you everything in detail, okay? Now, what does this mean? Okay, so scrape, okay, scrape configs, okay, I mean not scrape, yeah, scrape configs. Sorry, I was now confusing script configs with static configs, but it's script configs. Script configs is simply a list of jobs, okay, and each job tells Prometheus where to find metrics, okay. So in this case, the job name is for us, we're going to call it fast API, not Prometheus. Let me call it fast API. Okay. So the job name is simply a human readable name for this scripting job. Okay. A human readable name for this scripting job. Okay. And it will appear in the Prometheus user interface, like you're going to see. Okay. The next thing we need is to understand is what they call the static configs. Okay. Static, the first word called static here simply means the targets are hard coded. Okay. As opposed to them being dynamic. Okay. There's a setup where you can have what they call dynamic discovery, where Prometheus finds the targets automatically. Okay. In our setup, maybe later we shall make it dynamic, but for the MVP, we don't need it to be dynamic. Okay. Because like, I'm trying to get done with the MVP. Okay. So we don't need it to be dynamic. It will be static for now. Okay. So it simply means the targets, okay, which is a list of targets, is hard coded. Okay. Just a moment. So in addition to that, okay, so here targets, for my case, I'm going to change it. Okay. I'm going to change it because I want it to work within the Docker container. Okay. I'm going to say fast API dash app. Okay. Why fast API dash app? If I go to compose.yaml, okay, you see my service name is called fast API. The container name is called the fast API app. Okay. Yeah. And the port, okay, is 80. Okay. Internally, it is 80. So I'm going to say fast API app on port 80. So fast API full colon 80. Okay. So make sure you understand that. Okay. So again, fast API app is simply the container name. Okay. From compose here. Then port 80 is simply the port the fast API app listens on inside the container. So Prometheus will visit this endpoint. Okay. We will visit localhost. Okay. Is it full localhost full colon at port 80 slash metrics, okay, every 15 seconds. Okay, understand that. Okay, now we can move forward. The next thing I want to now do is to go to the file that we shall be interested in, okay? Which I know everybody is waiting for. So I'll remove this because we don't need it and go to compose.yaml, okay? In compose.yaml, we're going to add a service, okay? I want to minimize this. We're going to add a service. So just checking the chat in case there's a question. So to add this service, I will scroll up, just minimize all these, okay? And like I've told you, these things are very easy to know, okay? Very easy to know. And the syntax is very, very similar, okay? Like you're going to see, okay? For all of these, we have a container name, we have a port, we have environment, we can have something it depends on, or a volume, or a command, okay? This is what our fastapi-app has, okay? Our DB set has also an image, has a container, environment, ports, volumes, okay? By now you should know this because we have done this so many times. This one has ports and an image. This one has Kafka has an image, container, ports, okay, environment, okay? They are repeated. So I'm going to add another service, okay? What service would that be? If you can guess, like you see, AI is on the money. It's guessing it correctly. The service is going to be called Prometheus, okay? Of course, but I'm going to type it very fast, okay? Then explain to you because we have done this again and again. So we have Prometheus, okay? Then I've auto-completed from AI. The image will be from Prometheus latest, okay? So what does this line mean? Okay, this line simply means that we are going to download the official Prometheus Docker image from Docker Hub, okay? Then this one here simply names the container Prometheus instead of a random name, okay? We have Prometheus as the container name, okay? Then for the ports, okay, the left side simply means the port on our host machine, okay? Then the one on the right simply means the port on the inside, okay? Meaning when we visit localhost 9090, okay, in our browser, we shall see the Prometheus UI, okay? Then after that, I can specify some volumes, okay? And I like how AI has been so good, okay, at this. So for the volumes, okay, we're going to have two volumes, okay? One is called the bind mount, okay? So this is a bind mount. Why is it a bind mount? Okay, you can see that this, what separates, look at this separation, okay? Where there's a full colon, okay? It marks a separation. At the beginning, we have an absolute path to a file, okay? That file is this one here, prometheus.yaml. Okay. Then, in addition to that, we have, okay, the exact location, the location of this file inside the container. Okay. So the first one is, before the full colon, is the location of our Prometheus config outside the container. Then this other one is the where Prometheus expects its configuration to be inside the container. Okay. And this is called a bind mount. Okay. So any changes to prometheus.yaml, okay, on your machine will immediately be visible inside the container. Like I said, this is called a bind mount. Okay. In addition to that, there's another type of volume which is called a named volume, which we're going to create. Okay. So let's go to the next line. And we have been creating named volumes. Okay. I'll just say dash Prometheus underscore data. Okay. Full colon, let's say / Prometheus data full colon Prometheus. Okay. Today we are learning. Okay. So this one is called a named volume. So on the left side simply has what I call a Docker managed volume named Prometheus data. Okay. On the right side of the full colon. So when I say right side, left side, I mean the right side of the full colon and the left side of the full colon. So on the left side, it is a Docker managed volume named Prometheus data. Okay. Then on the right side, it is where Prometheus stores its time series database, okay, inside the container. And like I've told you, this is called a named volume. And data persists, okay, even if you delete the container. That is the good thing about this, okay, about volumes. So, but we need to declare it down here, okay, by saying Prometheus data, okay. Now, by doing this, we are absolutely safe. All right, so what else do I need to do? A few more things, okay. We need to talk about, there's a command, okay. You can come here, I want to type a number of things and I'll explain them. I'm going to say command, okay. But it's not actually new, because if you go up here, okay, in the fastapi-app, we also have a command, okay. Yeah, so I'll say command, then I'll explain in a minute. Command, tab, minus, okay. Okay, I'll put a few quotes and say minus config, okay, dot file will be equals to /etc, okay, that is correct. I'll accept this. So all this, okay. So after that, minus storage.tsb.path equals to /Prometheus, okay. So this is okay for now. Now, what does this configuration mean? So the first one simply tells Prometheus where to find its configuration file. Remember, we mentioned it up here in the volume definition, okay? And so if you look at this, okay, this part, okay, and this part is very, very similar. Or it's the same, okay? It's the same. So yeah, so these are simply command line arguments, okay, which will be passed to the Prometheus library. Then this other one here on line 81 tells Prometheus where to store its database, okay, which is here, okay, in this location, which we specified when making the volume. As simple as that, okay. Now, let me maybe show you one more thing, which may not be necessary, but let me do it, okay? I'll say extra hosts. It's good to introduce something once in a while when we are learning these things, okay? Then, yeah, I can autocomplete this. This is extra hosts with an S, okay? Now, what does this mean, okay? So this is, extra hosts is simply a special Docker feature. It creates a DNS entry inside the container. What does it do? It creates a DNS entry. What is DNS? Domain name system, okay? If you don't understand DNS, you can search about it, okay? And maybe read about it for 10 minutes, okay? You'll see DNS, okay? There's this article by Cloudflare, okay? You can look at it in your free time. So let's go back rather. Oh, today I'm using anti-gravity. Interesting. So this first, like host.docker.internal, okay, is simply your machine's IP address, okay? So why do we need this? In case you wanted Prometheus to scrape maybe your local dev server, maybe let's say on port 8001, it could use that, okay? It could use host.docker.internal at that particular port, like 8001 or 8001, okay? But we're not using this right away. Okay, what we are scraping actually is this, okay? Is this endpoint here, fastapi port 80, okay? But let it just stay here for flexibility, okay? And for you to also learn something new about this, okay? So by now, you should be understanding the structure of a Docker file, okay? And you should not be confused when you go into, a Docker compose file, okay? Don't get confused. It's not actually hard. Then, of course, here we simply declared our volumes, okay? And this is simply declaring a named volume called Prometheus data. So Docker will create this volume and manage it. And data will be persisted across all container restarts. So I already built this earlier, okay? So for your case, it may actually take time because it will have to download the Prometheus. So I'll say Docker compose app. Someone earlier told me to enable multiple languages for this playlist. And yeah, when I checked, auto dubbing is actually enabled on my channel, okay? So YouTube will roll out the auto dubbing at its own time, okay? Yeah. So I think it was actually Hyman who asked for that. So what can I now do? Okay, I can now go to check the metrics endpoint. Okay, if I go to my browser, okay, I say localhost /docs, not 3000. I want docs. Okay, and I search for metrics. Okay, so you see now we have a metrics endpoint right here. Okay, so if I go to localhost 8000 / metrics, okay, you'll see we get the what is it called, the information. Okay, for example, you see this first one talking about the total objects collected, okay, during garbage collection, okay, that kind of stuff. So this means that the metrics endpoints is working and Prometheus formatted metrics are being exposed. Okay, so this metrics tracks Python's garbage collector. Okay, as we go on, maybe I'll keep adding a few things and explaining more around this. Okay, so we want to visit another endpoint. So all those endpoints are added by that instrumenter. Okay, .instrument.expose. So what I can also do is to go to at port 9090. Okay, port 9090 /API. I want to eat / I think API v1 targets. Yes, if I make it pretty. Why 9090? Don't get confused. Okay, just because of this. Let me reduce this 9090 because of this. Okay, yeah. Let me go back to the browser. So you see, status, success, the data, active targets. Okay, the address, the metrics path is this one. Okay, the scheme HTTP, the script interval is that, the script time up is that. Okay, the job is that. Okay, test labels, you get the script pool, the script URL, global URL, last error, last script duration, the health, you get. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Okay, so yeah, simply means Prometheus also successfully connected today to the metrics endpoint, and we have now verified, okay, that Prometheus is scraping. Okay, so what metrics are collected? The number of HTTP requests, the total number of HTTP requests, how long these requests take, currently active requests, and things like CPU, okay, memory, garbage collection metrics, CPU time, okay. Think about Python, I can call them Python metrics, okay, from Prometheus client. We can also check by the Prometheus UI. If I go to 9090, localhost 9090, you see we have the Prometheus UI. Okay, and maybe we can look at it more next time. So this is how you can set up Prometheus in a very easy way. Okay, there's nothing complex about this, my friends. I hope you have enjoyed this live stream, and I know this is the last day of the year, so I wish you a happy new year and a prosperous new year. Okay, wish you all the best. Let's come to the new year with more energy to learn and finish the flight booking engine. So see you in the next stream. Bye for now and have a good one wherever you are. Be prosperous.